Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network. Welcome here, not to Steve's Wrestling Ramble, here to actually the Talking Packers with Steve. Yes, we've been in hiatus for a while, um, coming back from our slumber here for the new season, the 2019 season, here with the Packers Super Bowl hat, not from this past year, because the past champion, the current reigning defending champions, are the New England Patriots. But this be from 2010 when we won the Super Bowl beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dallas, Texas. Now, I know my guest does not have any um, Super Bowl champion paraphernalia with his team, but maybe someday he will. He'll be sporting some T-shirts, some hats, some caps, some whatevers, um, and wear them with pride. But for me, as a Packer fan, as I've said in the past, I've been blessed. I've been very lucky, very fortunate with the teams that I've had since the day I was born to now in 2019. So, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, two of the best in the NFL. So now, quarterbacks. But now let's head into the 2019 NFL draft, the future of the NFL as it is each and every year. And me and my guest will be combing through each and every pick 1 through 32, giving our thoughts. Maybe not predictions for every single one, but for me, I will be. For my end, I'll be giving predictions for every single pick from the Arizona Cardinals all the way to the New England Patriots. There for round one, I'll also give my thoughts on the Green Bay Packers, where I think we're going to be headed overall in the draft. Now, remember, for those that don't already know, if you're living under a rock, I will let you know that the NFL Draft Night 1 is on NFL Network, ESPN, this time for the first time ever on ABC. So if you don't have cable, like I know one of my friends doesn't, you'll actually be able to watch it and not have to come over to my house and watch it if you want on your own because it will be on ABC for people for local television in your area to cheer on your team, hope and pray for them to get the player that you want them to get. But all in all, as we all are NFL fans, we all are just looking forward to those trades. We're always looking forward to someone reaching a team reaching for a player that Mel Kiper is going to go crazy about on ESPN coverage for picking that player so early. But before I keep rambling, let me introduce my guest for this evening, my dude, my guy. You've seen him a couple times in my wrestling podcast, the first time here for my football podcast, because he does have a smart football mind. Let's welcome from Everything Bro Wrestling, my dude, mi amigo, Conrad. How you doing?
Steve, thank you for having me on the show once again. This is my second time on here. We did the Super Bowl show, if you want to count that
Ah, yeah.
together.
I don't know
But
why I forgot that, but
hey, it's all good. Yeah, it's just like my Buffalo Bills. There's shirts out there. There's Super Bowl shirts. They're just in other countries that nobody knows of. They're out there though. When they send the loser ones
oh right,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah. To the third world countries, yeah.
Yeah. But glad to be on here. Glad to talk some football, and hopefully I get to discuss a little Buffalo Bills and what they're going to do in the draft here.
Yeah,
I'm, I'm a
those
little worried. I don't know how to feel about the Bills, and we'll get into it, I guess, when it's time.
right, right. Those Mafia are always strong, or at least they're always on Sports Center because they're putting people through tables. But but they're almost rivaling the black hole in Oakland in that fan base of craziness there. So there's something for that. But hey, don't you fret. I might have a championship hat, but there is one that is in another country. When we lost Super Bowl 32, when Brett took us back two times in a row, we lost to Denver during Super Bowl 33. But anyways, yeah, let's start with the NFL draft. And I guess my first question, the basic question, I guess, to ask, your hype level for the NFL draft overall or specific to your team?
This is. I have a mixed feelings on this. The NFL draft this year feels kind of meh. I think I'm really just tired overall in the NFL of the Green Bay, not Green Bay, excuse me, the New England Patriots. I'm tired of the same teams always being like talked about, and these are the guys. I've waited so long for this era to be over, and it feels like it's just never ending. Like since I was in high school and college, I'm like, dude, can we please have someone new in there? But on behalf of my team, we're in a weird spot because we finally made the playoffs. We snapped our horrible playoff streak. I think it was 16 years. It could drive a car. That's all I know at that point. If it was a kid, it could drive a car. That's how long it took us to make the playoffs. We make the playoffs, and then I don't know if we made bad moves or like it's so hard to explain that season. We had 3 great quarterbacks on Buffalo, and everything just kind of went done. Fix it. And then I'm like, who are our wide receivers? We had nobody. Shady struggled because the offensive line was terrible. With all due respect to those guys, we lost some key players because people wanted to retire in the middle of games. People were forced to retire. People were doing crazy things here in Buffalo. You just I don't know. It was a weird season, and I think this season is gonna tell me exactly what to expect from the Buffalo Bills.
My excitement level is always high in regards to the NFL draft because I do these mock drafts every year. I pick. I think I know everything. I think I'm gonna get 80% of these right in every year. That's not the case. 4 or 5 correct, but I'm always excited because I'm always looking forward to seeing how it unfolds, and specifically the round one, let alone overall for my Green Bay Packers. And for this year, it's special because usually, as occurrence is, every 4 years, every 4 years, the day one, night one is on my birthday. It's on April 25th, as it is this year. So I'll definitely remember when the first day is because it's on my birthday on April 25th. So that'll be double fun. But again, that's like an every 4 year occurrence when that's the case. But either way, the NFL draft is always a great time for me, whether I'm with my friends or just watching by myself at home. Just seeing how that first night goes and who gets drafted where and did we get it right or whatever, and go from there. But I'm always excited, looking forward to seeing how things go. And for my Packers, the thing that's changed for us, of course, is getting a new head coach. We still have Aaron there, and hopefully, he's healthy 100% now after the season that he had this past year, and as the team did have. That let's not not want to remember too much. But moving forward, new head coach, new scheme, new identity may be of sparking a new change in Green Bay, lighting a fire under Aaron's ass, and hopefully the Packers being the Packers again and being Super Bowl contenders as we used to be each and every year. So with the Packers, not making the playoffs, that being almost just as strange as LeBron James not being in the NBA playoffs. So um, again, different sports, different things, but still, to me, it was just as strange as that. But I'm looking forward to seeing how we regroup as a franchise, where we go. Goodikins and others there in the brass, and where our picks are, and I look forward to seeing how that all unfolds. But let's start with where to start. Number one, with the number one overall pick on the clock is the Arizona Cardinals. I got to start with the worst first, as they do in the NFL draft. So the Arizona Cardinals, for me, I'll make it plain and simple. Don't need to ramble on about it. Kyler Murray, I said from the jump when Arizona did hire their coach, and people can check that on my YouTube channel. Just search that, and when that happened, I was like, I'm pretty sure from that moment there's going to be Kyler Murray going to be drafted there, just with that connection, just with recent history. Those two in the relationship, I think it would be best for Arizona as a franchise, best for this new head coach and the franchise moving forward in Arizona, giving Larry Fitzgerald an actual quarterback to play with, and giving Arizona a chance to do something just as much as Cleveland's been able to rebuild. Why can't Arizona, right? Why can't they? So starting on that process is all 32 are trying to do. My pick, my selection, my mock draft has Kyler Murray going number one to Arizona, but like anything, who knows where it's going to go. Arizona could trade down. They might get an offer from Oakland, who has 3 picks, I believe 3 picks in the first round, 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. They can use that ammunition, and if they want Kyler so bad, they can try to move up to number one. But for me, I'm just sticking put. I don't have any trades in any of my mock draft picks. I'm going 1 to 32, and for number one, I have Kyler Murray, Arizona. What say you, Conrad?
I can agree with you on that exact same thing. He appears to be the hot pick for everybody. I'm actually opening up some draft picks right now just to see if somebody has anything different on people. I see RJ White says that they think that there may be a trade by the Raiders to get Kyle Murray. Could you see something like that happening?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The only team that I could see moving up because they have that ammunition. 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, 3 in the first round. having the needed capital or needed ammunition, as I said, to give to Arizona to give back to them for Oakland to go up. So I could see Oakland being the only formidable team. I know New York Giants need a quarterback or maybe want to, whether they actually say they need one. But Oakland just looks like the one that makes the most sense because they have the actual ammunition to go up to get Arizona or to go up to number one, trade the Arizona. Arizona would accept the trade because it would take a hefty price for Arizona to go away from number one because I think they're feeling truly within that organization is for Kyler Murray. They need an offer they can't refuse, sort of thing. I think Oakland's the only team, in my eyes, that could give it to them.
I'm also seeing Quinnen Williams as well as maybe the number one pick. I don't see that happening though. I really think that they have to go after a quarterback. Cardinals are in kind of like a quick rebuilding phase, I say. They've got some weapons there, but they have to find people like this. You can't wait. There's no maybe in a couple years. Listen, you don't know how long you have Larry Fitzgerald, like you said. How long are these guys going to stick around for on these false promises that we're going to get better, guys?
Right. Yeah, I agree there 100%, obviously. And for moving right along, let's head in with a number two pick on the clock, the San Francisco 49ers, a team that was on the rise, a team with Jimmy G. That ended hot the previous year to 2 seasons ago, with Jimmy G being 4-5-0, I think it was, ending that season, then heading into the 2018 season with promise and hope in the 49er franchise, 49er fan base, that this may be their year to turn around, at least make the playoffs, and Jimmy G goes down with that devastating injury out for the season. Hey, I was looking forward to the Jimmy G Aaron Rodgers matchup of that season, but he got injured 3 weeks prior. Hopefully he stays healthy when we face San Francisco this year in the schedule. But anyways, for the 49ers, for me, on my mock draft, I have the San Francisco 49ers selecting from the Ohio State University linebacker Nick Bosa. So that's who I have for the 49ers. Nick Bosa from Ohio State going to San Francisco. Conrad, do you agree, or who do you have for the 49ers at number two?
Nick Bosa seems like the only for sure one out of the top five, I would say. They there's no other way. Maybe Quinnen Williams goes to San Francisco, but I don't know. You can go you can't go wrong with either one of these guys. Nick Bosa is probably the better pick though, I think, for what the 49ers are trying to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. For number three, the New York Jets, Greenies Jets from ESPN, Mike Greenberg, and his New York Jets here at number three. The Jets being a team somewhat on the rise, being in prime position, at least from what I've been reading online and television and otherwise from the experts, to trade back with a quarterback needy team. Though, if anything, those quarterback needy teams will want to be moving up to number one, depending on what Arizona would even listen to offers. But the Jets are another position, being at number three, depending on how the first two fall there for the Jets. But for me, again, for this selection at number three, I have the New York Football Jets picking, excuse me, Quinnen Williams, defensive lineman. That's who I have there for the Jets. I think he'd be a great addition to New York, obviously. So that's who I have for the Jets. What say you?
Ed Oliver, DT from Houston. I just think that Greg Williams can do something with this guy. I mean, we saw what he did with Aaron Donald. I just think that he'll work out in their system better, and I think he's the kind of guy that I think the coach would want. And that's going to get back into with the next pick too with the Raiders. You're
Mhm.
going to see exactly why the coaches do matter in the selection of the picks, especially when you believe someone like John Gruden has full control over who he's going to have.
There you go. See, that's what we call, see, people, that's what you call a tease. Good job, Conrad. But for me, moving on with the Oakland Raiders, for the Oakland Raiders, I have, for them, we'll just say, I have Josh Allen. Josh Allen from Kentucky, edge rusher. Going to Oakland. I know from what I've heard reports, Quinnen Williams, Bosa as well, he's still on the board. Even DK Metcalf, wide receiver, on their radar for Oakland. Um, I just see in my mock draft and how things are shaking up for my own list. That's who I have fallen and going to Oakland. Again, Josh Allen, Kentucky edge rusher. Conrad, where are you going? Where are you thinking for the Oakland Raiders?
I think they get Quentin Williams as the person who I could definitely see going there more than likely, due to the fact of for the next two picks, I'll have to hold it up. My Tampa Bay Buccaneers. John Gruden, definitely my guy, back when they were winning, at least in '04. But I think he's so defensive minded that you got to go with a kid from Alabama, number one. This kid's a beast. He's a monster. He's definitely worthy of first round pick. He's going to be all over that field and give them exactly what they need on defense. And I think Gruden is still defensive minded. I don't see him trying to get a quarterback first. I just said that to spark up some conversation, but I think that they go defense.
All right. And heading forward, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that I've been talking about for the past couple of years as my sleeper picks heading into the season. When I have that episode before the Week 1 matchup, I'm always saying the Buccaneers are a team to watch. The Buccaneers are going to be the surprise team. Just watch out. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case in the past couple of years, but maybe things turn around here for Tampa Bay. They did let Fitzmagic go, Ryan Fitzpatrick going to the Miami Dolphins, so he's staying in state, going to his 8th NFL team in 14 years, and them going with Jameis Winston for now, but that's not going to be forever. But for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I gotta have them going defense. Though I was looking at a couple quarterbacks for them to go to, Dwayne Haskins being one of them. But my official pick for my mock draft, that people can hold me to and whatever when the draft comes next week, Tampa Bay, I have them taking from Mississippi State edge rusher Montez Sweat. I have him going to Tampa Bay. I think he's just the best pass rusher that has definitely skyrocketed. If I can speak up the draft boards, becoming a strong candidate for many teams to pick him here in the top 10 in the draft. So I have Tampa Bay taking Montez Sweat from Mississippi State. Where do you see Tampa Bay going?
I think Josh Allen will be who they pick. This might be a trade spot too. I don't know exactly what Tampa Bay wants to do. You brought up a lot of the history with issues with quarterbacks. This could be a move. Like if you know who you want and a guy fits in, I say go for it. But if not, I think the safe pick is to go with Josh Allen.
And now we head into number 6, the New York Football Giants. The Jets Giants being a team they're sticking with Eli Manning for now, though I do think they should go quarterback. Look to the future. Excuse me, and that's where I have actually. I do have the Giants pulling the trigger, going quarterback, and from Ohio State University selecting Dwayne Haskins quarterback. That's what I have for the Giants for my mock. So, so there you go, Dwayne Haskins quarterback, Ohio State for me. For the Giants, do you think they're going quarterback, or do you think they're going somewhere else and kind of being a surprise? Because I think it'd be a surprise if the Giants don't go quarterback. Like, for me, honestly, they either go quarterback or they trade down. So I'd be surprised if they just pick some other position. What say you?
I'm looking at 4 different draft boards and I see 4 different answers. Um, that's really tough for them to decide. I see another quarterback that they could get, Daniel Jones from Duke. I mean,
Hmm.
if they like him, I mean, you could secure him, and then you could worry about who you're going to get again once you're at what do they have 17 as well the pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's still going to be good people there. I think they need a quarterback at the end of the day. I think the Eli days are over. Eli got you your 2 rings. The rose colored glasses are off. Let's call it what it is. I think Eli is better utilized on a team like a Denver who picks up veteran quarterbacks often, and they try to build around him real quick to get him something. But I think they need to go with the quarterback. So I'm gonna rock with Daniel Jeremiah here, and we're gonna go Daniel Jones as well.
All right, and excuse me. Moving forward, to number 7. Moving forward to the Jacksonville Jaguars, another team that I'm hopeful to have a rebuild, to be the Jaguars of old on defense overall. Them picking up quarterback Super Bowl MVP. Let's not forget that. From the Philadelphia Eagles, having him coming into the fold and finally releasing Blake Bortles, and Bortles going to the Rams to be back up there in for the NFC champion Rams. But for the Jaguars, for me, I have them taking a wide receiver here at this selection. Ole Miss's DK Metcalf. I have Jacksonville taking Metcalf here at number 7. Where do you see the Jaguars going here?
I think they're gonna go with Jawan Taylor.
Hmm.
He just seems to be the right pick. They need someone at the offensive line. Um, yeah, he's just a match with how they like to play, and that guy's really physical. From his time in Florida, so why not? And he's already home too.
True, yeah. I think aspect. But moving forward, the NFC North, and NFC North contend, or NFC North fellow team, the Detroit Lions here at number 8. For me, I have them picking from the University of Michigan. Talk about staying home. Rashawn Gary, edge rusher. Um, it would be somewhat taking a chance, but I do see the Lions taking that chance in a position that they do need help in. But they're taking a chance on the athlete from Michigan, the pass rusher, who definitely has high potential, from what I've been reading from other draft sites as well. So that's why I have Detroit Lions taking Michigan's own Rashawn Gary, edge rusher. What say you?
I don't know where to start with this team. Damn, like I got a lot of friends who are Lions fans. I'm like, don't talk about the Bills so you look at your team, because god. I could see them either doing a tight end or even a cornerback. Let's go with LSU's Greedy Williams for the pick. I just think they could go cornerback. They could go so many different ways on that.
All right, and here we go. Here we go. Magical number 9, the Buffalo Bills, your team. The Buffalo Bills here, a team, trying to rebuild, trying to find its mojo, trying to find its own identity, moving forward in the draft. Many different positions, I would say, a draft need for the Bills. So since this is your team, I'll let you pick first. Here for the Buffalo Bills, what say you for your own franchise? Where do you see them going here? Round 1, pick 9.
All right. I may be shooting a long shot here, but I think we go with Montez Sweat. Mississippi State. Am I being hopeful that he's still going to be there? Probably, but I'd like him to be there. I don't see it going any other way. I don't think some of the other guys who I see picked on the board are going to be around at that point. Someone even mentioned a tight end, but I don't know. I mean, we need one, but I don't know if we need one from Iowa. I'd have to see that kid in action more because I don't know enough about him.
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson. But for me, I'm not going with TJ either from Iowa, though I have seen him play. He's a beast, so to speak. But for me, actually, for your team, for the Buffalo Bills, and that historic franchise, I'm going with from LSU University linebacker Devin White. Linebacker Devin White going to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills do need to add some speed and some playmaking ability on their defense, specifically again in the linebacking core, at least from my eyes, from the outside looking in, obviously, from a Packer fan perspective. And I think he'd be the best one on the board, at least on my board, that has gone through for my mock draft. I have Devin White.
Defensive minded team too, like very odd. Like our defense is always on point. I feel like if you underestimate us, we're gonna get at least 2 or 3 picks on you, force some fumbles, but it'll be interesting to see what we do, man.
Yes, sir. And moving right along to the Broncos, the Denver Broncos, who and Joe Flacco for whatever reason has their quarterback. Excuse me, as their quarterback there. Though some sites that I've seen does have Denver picking a quarterback at this spot, though none is me. For I have Jawan Taylor, offensive lineman from the University of Florida, the Gators. going to the Denver Broncos. There to protect their new quarterback, their short-term quarterback, their former Raven quarterback. But so to protect Joe Flacco, I have Jawan Taylor from Florida going to Denver. What say you?
I am going to echo what you just said on your previous pick, and I have Devin White going here. The Broncos have probably done their homework on the quarterbacks, but I just don't think they're taking a quarterback. They got Flacco. I'm pretty sure they're gonna stand behind it. Like I said, going with what I've always known of Denver, at least since the '90s, they like a veteran quarterback, and then they build around that quarterback to see what he needs to help him out, whether it's on the defensive end. Similar with John Elway, Peyton Manning. I don't know. I just think that's their formula, and they like to build off of that.
All right. Heading on and moving on to the number one, or not number one, number 11 pick here for the Cincinnati Bengals. And their team, their own rebuild moving forward. Um, and for the Cincinnati Bengals, for me, excuse me, I have them selecting from Houston defensive lineman Ed Oliver. I have Ed Oliver going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Just plain and simple, I think they need that. No other explanation, at least I don't feel, needs to be said because Cincinnati needs to get their act straight in regards to defense, let alone an offense. Their whole team needs to rebuild. So that's a start. But what do you say, Conrad? Where do you see Cincinnati going on your mark
I'm
board?
going a little wild and crazy.
All right.
I think with the new coach, they're going to want to promote this whole new era in Cincinnati, and we're going to be coming for you in the next couple of years. I think they go with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback
Oh,
just to show
snap.
like we're doing something different.
Nay, I feel you because I was actually thinking, at least on my list of players before I actually made my selection, so I'm not going to change it. I'm staying with who I have. But on my list, I had Drew Lock on my list, who they could have. But hey, I like where you're going. Actually, pulling the trigger there, going different, going off the board. Hey, you never know. You could be the one right. So we'll find out there on the 25th. Moving right along to number 12, the 13-time world champions, the Green Bay Packers from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, the number one stadium in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers selecting here at number 12. So I guess since this is my team, I'm going to go first. Go Pack Go. For the Green Bay Packers, I do actually have us picking a tight end, though we did um, re-sign one of our own. But then looking to the future, I do only see that being a 1 year, 2 year actual deal. Moving forward, I'm going with Mr. Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson from Iowa, Midwest boy, Midwest kid, coming to the Packers. Doesn't have to travel too far. Coming from Iowa to Green Bay to the Badger State to Wisconsin. TJ Hawkinson from Iowa, tight end, being selected by the Green Bay Packers. So, what say you? Who do you see my team selecting in the NFL draft?
Well, first I have to ask you a question. Do you see a trade happening with like Carolina maybe at this spot?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to trade for the Packers, I don't know about Carolina. If anything, looking down the board of teams, I thought maybe Washington or the Giants with their other pick trying to move up. Maybe if they see something, however the board goes, however the draft goes, the first 11 picks. Not saying Carolina's not an option, but just from my point of view and seeing the ammunition that the teams have to trade to make a trade with Green Bay, though we have traded down and then traded back into a first round in the past. That's how we got Clay Matthews that 1 year. But I'm not going to put past Green Bay that happening with any team below us. But I do see with Vincent and our new front office people that we're more inclined to be staying in our picks and picking the highest on our board. But I won't be surprised by that. But like I said, for my own mock, that's why I have them actually selecting a player. But do you think do you have a trade or something happening in yours?
No, I just was wondering maybe if like I could see Carolina going up, maybe trying to get like Rashawn Gary,
Yeah.
but that's just a side thought. Overall, though, I'm going to agree with you that they're going to go with the tight end. Let me throw one more question out at you since this is your team. What about Devin Bush? You think they would pick someone up like him? I don't see it happening, but
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I mean, from the reports I'm hearing from Green Bay, or at least again, what you take what you take from that, because sometimes they just blow smoke up players' butts and or just try to misinform other teams. That's just how the game is played, I guess. But no, I don't see that happening either. From what I've seen in regards to positions that Green Bay has been, I guess, looking the most interested in, have been defensive tackles and linebackers. But I think if anything, if you're not going to go to the tight end, I think we should go again with another offensive lineman. But for me, I think the best bet is tight end. But yeah, dang it, excuse me. Um, no, I don't see it happening. Or do you see us going a different way for the picks? And depending on how the board falls, seeing how things go for us into the next rounds, and who would we see there? Because you never know. A player can fall so far. Because honestly, you talk about you were hoping for a player to fall for Buffalo at your number at 9. Well, honestly, if I was being honest with myself, I was really hoping, and still hope, since it didn't happen yet, for DK Metcalf to fall and come to Green Bay. I think he would be good. He would be a good fit in Green Bay, another a new toy for Aaron. Um, and I think those two would work well together. Not just because Aaron being Aaron, but DK and his abilities and Aaron being Aaron. I think that would be a great duo and being a great addition to our offense, just as much as TJ would be as a tight end. But I think if DK is still on the board, I think Green Bay should go for DK over TJ. If that is the scenario on Thursday night of next week. But anyways, moving forward with the Miami Dolphins at number 13, I know I was talking about earlier about Fitz Magic heading to Miami. But for the Dolphins, I have I have Jonah Williams, offensive lineman, Oklahoma, heading to Miami. So that's what I have for the Dolphins. Conrad, who do you have heading to Miami?
Rashawn Gary. I think that he could fit in there. The last year, the Dolphins, I don't think they picked up any linemen on the offense or defensive side. So this year, the draft's heavy in them. So I say scoop up some players while you can.
And why not? Number 14, the Atlanta Falcons. Interesting franchise to speak. But for me, just simply, I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons, selecting from Florida State University, Brian Burns, edge rusher from Florida State. I have heading to Atlanta to join the Falcons. So, Cameron, what say you? What position, what player do you see going to the Falcons?
I think they go offensive line. Um, they need some protection there. I don't know. Atlanta always feels like they're a better team, and then they just, I don't know, something happens in the playoffs every year. I got Jonah Williams, though, from Alabama.
Yep. And next up, excuse me, just let me check something here. Okay. Anyways, next up here at number 15, Washington team. Um, Here at number 15 for me, I have myself pulling the trigger, the team pulling the trigger, going with a quarterback here at this selection. I mean, they will not lose their quarterback, who may not even be back for this upcoming season. So, yeah, and the option's not looking so good for the backups, and they didn't, at least from bringing anybody in there in Washington. So, I have Washington selecting from Mizzou, Missouri, Drew Lock, quarterback. So that's who I have going to Washington. What say you? Do you think they're going quarterback, or do you think they're going somewhere else?
I think they're going somewhere else. This is gonna sound bad, man. I got Brian Burns going here. I just think they're gonna pick up a veteran quarterback. Like it wouldn't surprise me if a Josh Rosen gets picked up by them, thinking they're gonna do something with him. Unfortunately, we both know what's gonna happen with that. But yeah, Brian Burns is probably who I think they're gonna get. I think they're gonna make a mistake in this one. You got to predict someone to do something that they shouldn't.
Yeah, there's always that team that reaches on a player that they thought was that blew them
Trust
away. Yeah, blew them away at a tryout or something, and just um, took them by surprise, and then they select them early. I know a couple of years ago Jacksonville did that. That's how a kicker was once drafted early in the first round. Um, Blew the socks out of a team. It just does happen. I'm moving on with the team that you actually were speaking about earlier in regards to when we were talking about my Packers. Selecting here at number 16, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers I have the Carolina Panthers selecting from Clemson University. There, the national champions, college football. Clemson, or them taking Clelin Farrell, edge rusher, Clelin Farrell, edge rusher from Clemson. That's where I have, or who I have going to the Carolina Panthers. Conrad, who do you see Carolina going?
Andre Dillard, Washington State. I think that this is his spot to go at right here.
And number 17 for the New York Giants again via the Cleveland Browns. Picking again. And here's where I have Andre going. Andre Dillard, offensive lineman, going to New York. Whether the Giants do pick a quarterback higher in the first round or they don't, whatever. I do see them trying to, getting some offensive linemen or one of them during this first round of picks to, if they are going to, if they're going to keep Eli or they're going to have a new quarterback, need protection, as all quarterbacks do. So I have Andre Dillard, offensive lineman, heading to the New York Giants at 17. What do you say?
I'm gonna go with Farrell from Clemson right here too. I don't see them grabbing a quarterback. I think they have that much faith in Eli, which it's not the move, man. But whatever. I think they'll learn in a year or two, but this year is not the year for them to learn, I don't think.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you live and learn, right? Anyway,
The Giants are weird though. Like, and Eli's weird too. Eli loses to like the Browns or someone who he should beat, but then he'll beat some great team and show like he's still the man. And I'm like, what are you? You kill me, dude. Like he's horrible for FanDuel. Trust me.
yeah, he's two-faced there, and when he plays or when he wants to play. Anyways, moving forward, the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings here at number 18. Um, I would say for them the best value going offensive line or linebacker. Um, excuse me. But for me, I have them or not facing again, taking Rudy Williams from LSU. Rudy Williams, DB, going to Minnesota. That's who I have. Who do you have heading to Minnesota?
I'm gonna go with Cody Ford from Oklahoma, offensive lineman. No rhyme or reason, just if that's who I saw there, that's who I would be picking up.
Sounds good. Now at number 19, the Tennessee Titans. Um, this one may be a little bit of a surprise to some, but to me, I think it's a right fit for them to do. The Titans need to find out if Mariota is really their long term solution there in Tennessee. I don't really think he is, but Tennessee, you never know. And picking up a weapon that could definitely help them overall on their offense would play in that part. So a tight end. I have a tight end. Excuse me, tight end Noah Fant. I know Fant tight end. I go into Tennessee. So I have one tight end from Iowa going to Green Bay. In my mock, I have the other tight end of Iowa heading to Tennessee to join the Titans. Again, Noah Fant for me going to the Titans. Who do you have going to Tennessee?
Clemson's Christian Wilkins,
Who?
defensive tackle. I don't know. I just think they're going to go with the pass rush here. I still think they believe in Mariota enough.
All right. And at number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers. How the mighty have fallen there in Pittsburgh and all their drama and all their BS and all their craziness. People leaving their team, just walking out,
Good
being
riddance.
being all egocentric, we'll just say, and going to their new homes. So good luck with that. Is the grass greener on the other side? Well, we'll find out for those two players. But we're talking about the Steelers, not them. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, moving forward after that debacle of a season and craziness, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting here 20th in the 2019 NFL Draft from Clemson, Christian Wilkins, defensive lineman, going to Pittsburgh. Conrad, who do you have Pittsburgh taking after all the mess and dust has cleared with their debacle of a season?
I'm going to Kentucky for this one. I think Lonnie Johnson Jr. at corner. Um, it might be a reach to go for him that early, but I think Pittsburgh will be looking for some defensive weapons. I think they know that they're okay on offense. They seem like they have guys who want to step up, so I see them going defense first pick.
And for the Seattle Seahawks, who just did sign Russell Wilson, being a highest paid quarterback in the NFL, highest paid player in the NFL. So good job, Russell. Congrats, you are number one for now in that in that regard, that category. But for me, I have the Seattle Seahawks selecting in this spot from NC State University, Garrett Bradbury, offensive lineman, going to Seattle. So that's what I have for Seattle. Who do you have for the Seahawks?
I have Mr. Jeffrey Simmons at defensive tackle from Mississippi State. He did suffer an injury to his ACL back in February, but I don't think they care about that. I think that this is going to be a gamble play for them, and if he works out, it'll be the smartest move they ever made. So why not take the chance? Your team's still in good shape, so
Talk about a team with in an interesting shape and an interesting future. Our friend of the show, our friend period, Kyron Chase, his Baltimore Ravens picking here at number 22, Baltimore Ravens. And for me, I have them selecting Jerry Tillery from not from Ohio State, from Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Jerry Tillery, defensive lineman. I have heading to Kyron Chase's team, to the Baltimore Ravens. Conrad, who do you have heading to Baltimore?
Kyron, you're either gonna love me or hate me for this one. I'm going with your boy DK Metcalf from Ole Miss. I think that they pick him up. They need some weapons on that team. I say you go for a wide receiver.
I like it. I like it. Hey, it's just. I mean, I was just thinking in my head. Obviously, your mock, my mock. We may think differently. Again, just to share my thoughts. I don't. I would be. Let's just say I'd be surprised. Honestly, I'd be surprised if Metcalf falls this far. But if he does fall this far, then Baltimore really should pick him up. I think that would be almost like a steal of the draft. Like when Aaron fell to us in that draft, coming to Green Bay with all those quarterbacks picked ahead of him that year when he was supposed to be and could have been number one overall pick and being a 49er quarterback for his career. And how that story went. But Baltimore DK, I like that. I'm sure Kyron would, or maybe, I don't know. We'll hear from him later. But yeah, I think if he does fall this far, that'd be great. Just as much as I was talking about if DK even falls to us at 12, that far, I would say that'd be a far fall for him in the draft, even just to our number. But going into number 22, we shall see. Number 23, though, the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans here, I have them going a little oddball. We talk about reaching, just talk about trying to pick the best player, whether need or not need. I have Houston selecting Josh Jacobs from Alabama, the running back. No solid basis reason, just because maybe on the board and they see highly of him, whatever that means. But that's who I have Houston taking Josh Jacobs, running back. What do you have for Houston?
This is tough because my 23 and 24 pick could easily be swapped. I'm going to say someone trades with Houston to get into that spot and take Noah Fant, tight end.
Cool. And then heading for number 24 for me, the Oakland Raiders via the Chicago Bears. The Oakland Raiders selecting again, having the 24th selection, if they actually still have this selection. Again, we were talking about if Oakland, with the ammunition that they have, they voted number one to take a quarterback. But if they are still here, if it's not another team, I have the Oakland Raiders selecting Cody Ford, offensive lineman from Oklahoma Sooners. Good old JR's University, Oklahoma Sooners. Cody Ford heading to the black hole, heading to Oakland, soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders, but right now the Oakland Raiders there. Who do you have for Oakland at 24?
Michigan State's Justin Lane.
And heading moving forward, the Philadelphia Eagles are former NFL champions, or Super Bowl champions. Philadelphia Eagles from a couple of seasons ago, drafting here at number 5, picking number 25, and for the Eagles, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy, DB, there from Washington. Um, that's why I have Philadelphia selecting. Now, I always look forward to each and every year. I don't know if you've heard of this guy on YouTube. Maybe you might want to look him up or don't. EDP 445, EDP 445, and his opinions on the Eagles. So I always am interested to see what his reaction is to who the Eagles pick. But for his team, Philadelphia, Archfiend, other YouTubers that I have spoken to that talk Eagles, um, they've been saying in regards to Eagles and where they could go, that DB plan offensive lineman would be where they would go, where they see their franchise, their team going for the pick. But that's who I have. Brian Murphy, DB, heading to the city of brotherly love. Who do you have heading to Philadelphia?
All right. So my logic behind this one, hear me out. Deshaun Jackson, he's not there for the long term, in my opinion. And you could lose some key people next year. I think they go wide receiver. I think you go with Marquise Brown.
Yeah, it's not a stretch at all. I think that'd be a good pickup for them, for the reasons that you did bring up. Moving forward, the Indianapolis Colts. A friend of mine, a friend of the show, Stephen A. You can find him on Twitter at Stephen A. 1181. Again, that's Stephen A. 1181, who speaks with us each and every week talking pro wrestling. But his NFL team, the Indianapolis Colts, picking here at number 26, our resident Stephen A. I have his team. I have the Indianapolis Colts selecting wide receiver. I have a wide receiver going here for me, as you did for Philadelphia. I have Marquise Brown, wide receiver, Oklahoma Sooners. Another Oklahoma Sooner going for me on the board, off the board, but him going to Indianapolis. So I have Marquise Brown, wide receiver, going to Indianapolis at 26. Conrad, who do you have going to the Colts?
I think I'm off on this one. I really wasn't sure who fit into this spot the best, so I went with Jonathan Abram, safety. I don't know. I think it would be cool to see him go there, but I don't know if that's going to happen either.
Yeah, I mean, there's so different people talking about him, where he lands. I'm saying mid first round, early second. We just have to see where the chips fall. Number 27 with the Oakland Raiders via Dallas Cowboys. Here for the Raiders, I'm gonna kind of have them going. They're trying to go in defense. Here I have Dexter Lawrence, defensive lineman from Clemson, going to Oakland. So for Oakland here at 27 now, what do you have going to the Raiders?
Chris Lindstorm, the OG from Boston College.
Yeah. All right, heading into number 28, the LA Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. For the Chargers, I have them selecting DeAndre Baker. He's a back from Georgia. This is the best fit for them there. Who do you have heading to LA to join the Chargers?
Rock Ya-Sin, cornerback from Temple.
Okay. All right. And moving forward, the Kansas City Chiefs. A team on the rise, a team with the defending NFL MVP there. But for the Chiefs here, I have them selecting from Michigan, Devin Bush, linebacker, going to Kansas City. So who do you have heading to the Chiefs?
I think this is where Byron Murphy lands. I think he falls down a little bit lower. This is an easy pick if he's still there for Kansas City. Yeah, I think that would be good value for them to get someone like that in their clutches.
All right, and as we head here near the bottom, I didn't even know this. I forgot. Green Bay having another pick here, number 30. Green Bay Packers via the New Orleans Saints. Here at number 30 for the Packers. Oh, I forgot that. Who knows? But anyways, for the Packers, I got to think about this a little bit because I didn't realize we have another pick. For the first pick, I did go tight end. Here, I'm going to go for a little bit of reach, and maybe not reach in the position, but a reach to some in the name, like who's that guy sort of thing. But I have us at number 30, the Packers, selecting from Arizona State University, And Keel Henry. Keel Henry, or Harry, I mean, dang it, if I can read. And Keel Harry, wide receiver. I was to say, and Keel Harry, I think could be a good fit for the Packers. Might be a little range, but I think as the way the board is shaping up on my end with my mock draft, with Green Bay selecting a tight end first from Iowa on my board. I think now adding in even more, another weapon for Aaron. Now this time an actual wide receiver. That's who I have for the Packers selecting here at 30, having another pick here in the first round. So, Conrad, who you have heading to Wisconsin, heading to the Packers? You're at number 30.
You might smack me. You might. I think that they're going to try and pull what they did a couple years ago again. I think that it worked once before, and I think they're going to think that this will work again. And it might. It might. This doesn't seem like a horrible pick. I could see them trying to replace a 35-year-old Hall of Famer once again. And I think Drew Lock from Missouri could be their pick and have him sit behind Aaron Rodgers and sit underneath that learning tree of how to be a Green Bay quarterback the way we want you to play. And perhaps that'll be the future for Green Bay.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to smack you. I'm surprised a little bit. That'd be interesting if we went that way. Um, Interesting in a couple of reasons. One, with Aaron Rodgers, and I know my late grandfather, who used to live with me and I have a special connection with and stuff like that, always said the past couple of seasons that, Aaron should be retiring here soon. We need to, Packers should be getting a quarterback. And I try to tell him that Aaron's, probably going to be here for 2 to 5 more years. But, him saying of, still needing to get that quarterback of the future. And my grandfather being the wise man that he was. Um, but with that, yeah, I wouldn't be. I'd be surprised. Yes, honestly, I'd be surprised. But I'd be surprised in a happy way with a smile on my face because I'd be thinking of my grandpa because he's been saying that for the last couple of years here before his passing last summer, um, at the wise age of 99, that that's how we should go moving forward with our quarterbacks. And so if that did happen, and it happening on my birthday, other stuff extra, for me personally, that would be cool. Plus for you, you get that pick right. But yeah, that would be interesting. Again, I'd be surprised because with Aaron Rodgers and his ego that yes, all quarterbacks have, but his sometimes seems a little extra. And I'm saying that as a Packer fan. But anyways, moving on. 31 LA Rams, defending NFC champions. I have the Rams selecting Dalton Reisner, offensive lineman, Kansas State University. Dalton Reisner, offensive lineman, heading to the Rams. Who do you have heading to LA to be a new member of the Rams?
I'm going based off of other reports for this one. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Even Elgton Jenkins. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Mississippi State. So I'm just gonna go with that. I hate the late picks because sometimes you're just like, what do these guys really need? But
Oh yeah, I understand that. Now that's usually because you never know with late trades, team drafting out of the first round. Sometimes the Patriots used to do that a couple of times since they are, the Patriots, and they can do anything, and I guess it doesn't matter. And then still be in the playoff hunts or Super Bowl hunts. But hey, let's talk about the Patriots at 32. If they actually do pick here at the final pick of the first round, the New England Patriots, and with this final pick, with the final pick of, excuse me, the final pick of the first round here, as I'm trying to actually look through players that are still left, it's kind of like a crapshoot here. Um, I was gonna try to go with, if they wanted to go off the boards, hey, we're gonna get a quarterback, yeah, but I definitely, not seeing that in the cards. Um, but you know what? I'm gonna go with the defensive player. I'm gonna go with the 32nd overall selection, the final pick in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft, the defending NFL champion, Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots, selecting Jeffrey Simmons, defensive lineman from Mississippi State University. What say you? Who you have capping off this first round? Who you have going to the defending champion Patriots?
I've got two people. At first, I had Dexter Lawrence from Clemson going here, just because I think he's a pretty decent player, and if he's still there, why not pick him up? But at the same time, I'm gonna make my final pick, Debo Samuel from South Carolina, wide receiver. Have him there just in case. Maybe he turns into something great because he's on New England, and you know how that goes. They catch everything, they never miss. They're the greatest of all time. So I'm gonna go with Debo Samuel for my last pick for the first round.
All right, looking right, looking right. Now, as you can tell, I was not writing down anything. We'll go back to this video, write these down as we get to next Wednesday and Thursday in regard to yours and mine. Um, for the picks, at least from my end. You know, if you do picks on your own or differently, then that's one that you can go by too. But for myself, from this podcast, that's what I'm holding here, and we'll see who does well in this friendly battle, of course, in regards to picking, and we'll see how that goes for the first round. Um, with players falling to the second round, at least in my mock, that I thought could have been first rounders, but obviously I did not select them. Like Greg Little, offensive lineman, Ole Miss. AJ Brown, wide receiver, Ole Miss. I think would have been a good pickup for him, especially mid pick in the first round. But I thought there were other and better candidates. Um, Jackie Bariti, edge rusher from Florida, and then finally one that I really was coming back and forth on if to be selected. Um, another player from Washington, Taylor Rapp. Been hearing a lot of good things on him. Don't be surprised to hear his name in the first round. Maybe some fans, maybe, but for me, I wouldn't be too surprised if he actually is selected in the first round. So remember that name, everybody. Taylor Rapp, defensive back, Washington. If he is selected, if he's not in the first round, then he's not. But I do think he does have at least first round grade for me. And though I didn't select him in any for any of my teams, or for any of the teams, I do think I wouldn't be surprised to see him go in the first round. But as for the rest of the NFL draft, this is for your Buffalo Bills. Maybe not, you don't have to share who they pick every pick, but how do you see things shaping up for your Bills um, moving forward beyond who you had for their first round?
That's gonna be so tough. I think there's just certain guys they should target at this point. I mean, if you can get a DK, go for him. Ed Oliver, if he's there, go for him. TJ Hawkinson, Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary. Who else could they get later on? Maybe a Miles Boykin, um, Chris Lindstorm if he falls to the second round, Nate Davis even. There's a lot of people that the Buffalo Bills could pick up. They just have to fill these gaps. Like, I don't think the Bills are bad. I think they need to fill gaps and they need to really focus on how to make Josh Allen better and get him targets that will make him look better at the same time. I don't think Allen played horribly. I think that he had enough mindset to scramble, but I don't want to see a big guy like that keep scrambling. Anytime I see a big quarterback, the first thing I think of is bad knees. I go like basketball route instantly. I'm like, yo, if this dude gets hit in the legs, we're dead. Like he can't run. Then he's slow in the pocket. They're always a little bit slower. If they run out of that pocket, it's time to blast him because they feel like, oh well, he's a big guy. He could take it. He could take this hit, and they just go for it to take their heads off. So once again, focus on Allen. Get your wide receivers in your line straight, and play the same defense you played last year.
Then you'd be straight. And yeah, and we'll see how the season goes then for Buffalo moving forward. But it's for the Packers. Um, you know, though it's not a yearly occurrence, though in the past we have picked a fellow with a Badger, and for this season, if not in a later round, maybe even the second round, I think a player that we should have on our radar, and hopefully another team does not snatch him up. Offensive lineman and David Edwards from University of Wisconsin Madison, the Badgers. David Edwards, I think, would be a good pickup for us for position wise, player wise, and then the Wisconsin ties as well. I think would be a good pickup. I'm thinking there in regard to Wisconsin Badgers. Each and every year, I also do look. I also do look and point out and um, be excited for Badger players wherever they go. Either I tweet about it or whatever on social media of this Badger's going to the Buccaneers or this Badger's going to the Packers, wherever. Just to see where the Badgers, where the Wisconsinites go in the NFL draft, where their new team, where their new homes are going to be heading into the NFL, them actually getting drafted, and even ones undrafted, the undrafted rookies. I um I have a special checking of Wisconsin Badgers and where they go. So just as much as the Packers and who we get drafting and undrafted players, and picking at it like a fine tooth comb with the fine tooth comb, doing the same with the Badgers and seeing where Wisconsin Badgers eligible drafted players go during the draft and after the draft subsequently, and tracking their careers from there individually, moving forward, like some from the past couple of years, seeing their stock will rise in the NFL with their teams. So for me, David Edwards would be that player, if not second round, maybe fourth round. Seen some mocks having him fall that far, but second or fourth round for Mr. Edwards from Wisconsin. But all in all, hopefully Green Bay. We hit on some need players not reaching. Sometimes in the past we have reached, like teams do. It happens. But reaching on who going so much of who's high on their board and who they feel could be the best, than actually going with who actually is the best on the board. You gotta go over the quality over the quantity in a sense of that kind of apples and oranges. I think for Green Bay, that's the best way to go. You have a new coach, you have a new system, you have a new identity, and it's time for Green Bay, especially for this season. If it may be one of Aaron's last, you never know. He's one hit away. That career could be over. Just ask Drew Bledsoe. But you know, I say fourth round look at quarterbacks. I say also getting that wide receiver, tight end. If you don't do it in the way that I mocked it, but just in however they feel is best. Um, but either way, getting players in those positions, uh, getting our offense ready to and in a good place. Because I think just as much as getting Aaron back and 100% healthy is good for Green Bay, having reliable targets on the offense for Aaron is best for Green Bay. Just like any team, that's just special for Green Bay, but still, for any team, and that's what I hope would be the situation for our team here in Green Bay, for Aaron to have that, and for us to have that hope and chance and belief that we'll be moving on up, being back in contention for Super Bowls, let alone just back in the playoffs again this season. Like I said, it was odd for us not being in there this year. Hopefully that tune changes next season and we can dethrone either Minnesota or Chicago for the number one spot in the NFC North Division. But thank you, Conrad, for joining me. You have any other last words, thoughts, any bold predictions? Maybe it doesn't have to be with the Bills, but draft bold predictions that you may have that could happen in the draft, or anything else you want to say and promote yourself. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna be bold and say Nick Bosa is the number 2 pick. Just to be bold. I was gonna ask you, what grade would you give this draft class?
Yeah, if I want to be Mel Kiper, yeah, if I was going to grade this draft class, already heading into the draft, um, I would say last year's class was better overall. But if I gave it an actual grade, I'd probably give it a B minus of a grade of an overall draft class. Strong in some positions, good depth, wide receiver and cornerback positions. But again, overall, I probably would give it a B minus type of grade. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with like a C to a C plus. It feels very weird this year. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's a lot of defensive guys. There's no exciting prospects that you're like, yeah, this guy's going to be good. You got some guys that either they're going to turn out to be the best things that you've ever seen, or, they tried. So hopefully, people turn up for it. And I just want to bring up last year too. Sometimes I would get to interact with some of the Bills players before they were famous, and I have to give a shout out to Tremaine Edmonds and Josh Allen because I met them and they were the coolest dudes that you will ever meet. Josh Allen was with, I'm going to assume it was his girlfriend. I don't know, fiance, wife, or whatever. But this guy was signing everything for every little kid that he ever met, and he was on his way to seeing his agent. I was like, you guys better get him now, because if he comes back from his agent, he can't sign any of that stuff anymore. They're gonna say you need to charge for that. But he signed everything, hats, um, tickets, whatever the people had near them. They're like,
Yeah,
sign this, and he did it. So he was very cool. And Tremaine Edmonds and his dad were both very cool as well. Very nice to meet him. Big dudes, big dude. I think the dad might have even been bigger. Big dudes though. So just know that these guys are in college. I know sometimes people go a little crazy on Twitter with that stuff. These guys are in college. They're about to make the most money they've ever made in their lives. It's the dream that I would assume most of us as fans always wanted. So,
mhm.
have a heart, even if you don't agree with the pick all the time. Hopefully, we get the best out of whoever we get for Buffalo, Green Bay, whoever your team is. I want all these
Yeah,
guys to be successful.
yeah. Whatever team you're a fan of here, and as the motto goes here for this podcast, I'd like to talk about all 32 from a Packer fan perspective. To share my thoughts and how I see your team from the outside looking in. I know Malik, who's a Patriots fan, our friend, our amigo Malik, Kyron, representing the Baltimore Ravens. Trying to think what team Mark Rambo cheers for. But anyways, our friends, ourselves, who we represent and in our team and our fandom. But my question to you is, what are your thoughts on this kind of round robin selection, kind of like Super Bowls and WrestleManias of where they have the NFL draft? Like this year, it's gonna be in Nashville. I usually was in Chicago. Kind of going away from New York. Like, do you like this going to different areas of the country, or did you want it to just stay in Chicago, stay in New York, stay in one place to be its home for the draft?
No, spread it around, I think. Why not let some of the other cities get it? And I think it's a great way to see interest from a business aspect. People probably hate me a little bit because sometimes I do things from the business aspect versus the fan. But I think it's a great way to make money and potentially go to other cities that may be your next NFL team hub that you're like, well, maybe we could go here. Let's see how the fans interact with this.
Hmm.
And you see how many people, you can even do it before it airs. Like, who would like their own team here? What would you call the team? Yeah, okay. And interview some of the fans, like, yeah, when are we getting an NFL team here? You can get feedback and generate that stuff from it. Make money, generate the feedback, and then you can make even more money off of it.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good way to think. You want to talk about a city you may not want to go back to for a little bit would be St. Louis. We might want to wait a little bit to go there, but trying to get a team back there in St. Louis. Um, or how Elias learned in regards to the Seattle Supersonics. But yeah, for basketball. But hey, I wouldn't mind if they tried to hold a. Hey, they held an NFL draft in Chicago. Okay, they can hold one in Green Bay. That'd be kind of cool. Have an NFL draft here in Wisconsin. I mean, we might not ever get a Super Bowl, but we
I
could get
think
an
if
NFL draft.
go everywhere, why not? Why not go to a Washington one time or go to a LA another time, Texas one year? I like it. I like it moving around.
Right, and especially with franchises with history too. Not just giving everybody a chance to, but in general, kind of on the history, especially with this being the 100th thing. But moving forward, going to Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay. Um, they already went to Chicago, New England. Their dynasty. Um, but either way, going to different towns, cities, and just spreading it out. As much as I did like it staying in New York, being that one place, if you have one closer, you may actually be able to go and experience it. And experiencing an NFL draft, just as much as experiencing a Super Bowl in its own way, is a great fan experience once in a lifetime. So, um, yeah, that would kind of be cool if they do have one here in Green Bay, or if they have one there in Buffalo, and they have an NFL draft in our areas, um, to go and be a part of and watch your team.
They aren't coming here. We don't have enough hotels to keep
Oh,
all these people. I wish they would. Buffalo's expanding though, so hopefully one day.
there you go. Yeah, don't let the dream die. But anyways, that should be about it. No other NFL news really to share. Well, the NFL schedule came out, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Packers have a later bye. We start off the season just the Packers and Bears. I guess this year, since it's the 100th, they're starting with the most historic rivalry, Green Bay Chicago. Though it's not at Green Bay, it's starting. The game's going to be in Chicago, the Thursday night game, instead of how it usually is, the Super Bowl rematch, um, being the first game, and then the unveiling of the banner and all that other fun stuff for the franchise. So that won't be happening to that Sunday game for the New England Patriots, but against Pittsburgh. But anyways, yeah. So it's gonna be Bears Chicago. Um, us starting off against at Chicago against home against Minnesota, then a road home road, home by road home road. I think in regards to the schedule for the Packers, but all in all, hopefully things are turning things to go well. Just as much as for Cleveland, hoping things are turning around for them. But anyways, I'll let Conrad here before we go share any other last words and let him promote his stuff. Let people know where they can find you.
Last words will probably be make sure we at least beat the Jets, guys. um, we have New England game 4 at home. New England is tough, man. I think that's what keeps us out the playoffs every year. Hopefully the Buffalo Bills can do it though. I mean, we have a okay schedule. I don't know what to expect from a lot of teams. We got the Jets, Giants, Bengals, New England, Titans. Then we play Dolphins, Eagles, Redskins at home. Then we got the Browns, Dolphins, Broncos, Cowboys, Baltimore. Hi, Kyron. And Pittsburgh. And then we go right back to be determined date for another New England game. And then we end with the same way we started, the Jets. But yeah, I'm excited for the season. Hopefully the Bills do something. Love to see us in the playoffs again. Wild card spot or not, I don't care at this point. Let's just get back in there and fight for the playoffs because then you get used to being in that spot. Other than that, though, people can find me at Everything Pro Wrestling. You guys can look me up on Twitter at EPW Show. And yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just type in Everything Pro Wrestling. Give me a subscribe if you like pro wrestling.
Yeah, there you go. Subscribe and also ring the bell over there when you know when he goes live or just does have his next video that he's uploaded there. I'm trying to things will load here for my schedule, or not my schedule. I'm not playing for the team, but Packers schedule through the week. So to share, we have excuse me, week 1 Thursday night at Chicago, then week 2 at home against Minnesota, then week 3 at home against Denver, then week 4 a Thursday night game against Philadelphia, week 5 Sunday afternoon game against the Dallas Cowboys, week 6 a Monday night football game against Detroit at home, the Dallas game being away. Week 7 at home against the Oakland Raiders. Week 8 away against the Kansas City Chiefs, a night game, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Week 9 on that Sunday for November 3rd, away against the LA Chargers. Week 10 against one of my friends, Team Boy TV Live, his team, the Carolina Panthers, playing at home here in Green Bay. Week 10. Week 11, we're on a bye, so we're on a bye in week 11. Week 12, away game against the San Francisco 49ers. Week 13, we face the Giants in an away game. Week 14, we're home again against the Washington team. Week 15, we're at home still against Chicago Bears. Week 16, we're away heading to Minnesota to face the Vikings on December 23rd, Sunday night or Monday night football game. And then week 17 to finish off the season, a noon game on the road against the Detroit Lions. So we finish with 2 away games, divisional games. We start with an away and home with divisional games. For the Packers, my final words are go Pack go. Let's turn things around. New coach, new system, new things. Let's get one of these again. Let's go. Let's go. Hopefully things can turn around. Hopefully we'll be winning. Maybe not win a Super Bowl, get there, get to the playoffs. At least that. But all in all, we will follow me on Twitter at talking_Packers. Again, that's talking_Packers. You can also find me on my personal Twitter handle at army_strong_06. I say good luck to Conrad with his picks here for the first round. I'll be writing them down next week, and on my podcast next week, which will be going over the schedule more in depth, which will be previewing a little bit more of the NFL draft. Though I won't be able to be on the channel on Thursday for any reason. My wrestling podcast might even have to be moved for my birthday in the NFL draft. But I'll just be sharing, the schedule, other things to share that week. But I'm looking forward to the season. Hopefully things can turn around. Go Packers. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And above all else, as always, take care.